The woman's marital relationship had already broken down. She had admired herself for being able to stay married for so many decades in front of a husband who was arrogant and demeaning. When her husband reached a retiring age, she got a surprising comment from him. He said to her, "I can't have an old lady as my wife, so divorce me." In response to this, the woman tells her husband a startling revelation, that they were already divorced. The husband is confused. Why did she stay with him after the divorce? Why didn't the husband know they were divorced? My husband is approaching retirement. When I think back, I have so many terrible memories from our first decades of our marriage. I can't count the number of times I fought with my arrogant husband. I regretted marrying him so many times. It's hard to be together until retirement and not getting along. And you'll be spending more time together from now on. But being with my husband has made me a very strong woman. He's about a year older than me, which makes me younger. When we got married, I thought he was right about everything. I did what he told me to do without complaining. I believed that if I did, I would be happy. No wonder if her husband became arrogant as a result of her obedience. Maybe he was always unreasonably making her obey. My husband always thought he was the most righteous man. That's why I trusted him, his confident attitude. By the time I realized he was using me for his own convenience, it was too late. If I tried to give him my opinion... When have I ever asked for your opinion? All you have to do is listen to me. Just follow my lead like you've always done. I'll take care of you. That's what he said to me. At the time, I was very angry and regretted it. But I had become a housewife. There was almost nothing I could do. Your husband sounds so demeaning. Where does he get that kind of confidence? Because of this personality, he didn't have many friends. And he also didn't have a very good relationship with his family. My husband is not an amazing man, and he's too overconfident and just really arrogant. It's the most embarrassing thing. He could never be open to listening to other people's opinions. I've given up on it. But I'm sure it must have been awful for those who were pushed around by him. You're married to a very nasty husband. I'd run away if I were you. I'm a bit of a sore loser myself, so here we are. I'm not going to run away, so I held out in vain. I didn't want to cause trouble or worry for my family. I didn't want to admit that my marriage had failed. Looking back, I think I may have wasted my whole life for some stupid reason. But I didn't have the courage to get divorced and be alone. I was just being strong, but I was also weak. That's deep. I never know when I'm going to be like that, so I'm learning a lot from this. My husband will be retiring soon, and at that time, I've been looking over the years. I still have a lot of regrets. I envy all the couples in the world who are doing well. If your husband was so selfish from the beginning, it must have been really hard to get along with him. I bet he's never thought of you and him as equals. If I tried to tell my husband that, I'm sure he'd just snicker and then get angry. I'm the reason you don't have to struggle to make ends meet. I've been told that so many times. It's like ringing in my ears. I know for a fact that he makes enough money for me to be a stay-at-home wife, and I'm very grateful for that. But I've never heard that it means you lose your human rights. You'd have to lose your mind to be able to get along with him. But I've never been that obedient. I don't care how much money he makes. I'd be pissed off if he said that to me. He has no respect for you at all, does he? Of course, I tried to appeal to him many times. Each time my husband would say, "Then let's get a divorce. I'll be fine without you, but would you be fine without me? You won't survive without me. If you don't want to be kicked out, I suggest you change your attitude." I've been frustrated every time he says that to me, but as I mentioned, I had nowhere to go. I couldn't just lose my temper and run away from home. And even if I did leave home, I would have to be forced to go back to my husband's house. But if I ran away and came back home, it would be harder to disobey my husband, right? That's why I've been putting up with it for so long. You must have married the wrong man. Bet you've struggled together for decades. I respect you. There's nothing to respect about me, and I don't want this to happen to anyone. But thank you for listening to me. I'm glad I can feel this connection to the outside world. If you ever wanted to talk again, come back. We're always here for you. I'm glad there are people like you guys in this world who are so nice. I'll take your word and come back and talk to you all. The people who had heard about the woman's sad life felt deeply sorry for her when they heard and thought about how she had to deal with this kind of behavior for decades. And looking back at their own families, they realized that it is best for a couple to get along as equals. The woman is still haunted by regrets. I wonder how they will live together after he retires. Sometime later, the woman came back to talk to her friends. Rather than complain about my husband today, I came here to talk about something a little deeper, something I didn't tell you guys last time. I'm afraid I'm going to surprise you. Will you listen to me? I was surprised enough by the way that your husband of yours was acting. I mean, isn't it about time he retired? Yes, my husband is retiring. That's something to celebrate, but on the day of his retirement, he was in a very bad mood. That's understandable though, since no one congratulated him on his retirement. How much do they hate him? I don't know whether to feel sorry for him or to pity him. You can say whichever you'd like, but because of my husband's bad mood, this affected our relationship. My husband told me, I'm going to spend every day at home from tomorrow. I don't want to be with a granny like you. I can't have you as my wife. You're not fun to be around. I'm divorcing you. By the way, don't think you'll get a share of the property. I'm not giving you my hard-earned money. The money, the house, it's all mine. That's what he said. Calling you a granny when he's older than you? You've been supporting your family this whole time. This guy is all about himself. But here's the surprising part. I replied to my husband with, "What are you talking about? We're already divorced." Wait a minute, what do you mean already divorced? Is that even possible? We didn't talk about this last time. I just wanted you to listen to me complain. I didn't want to get too deep into it. I was just surprised he didn't know about the divorce. How is that possible he didn't know? He didn't believe it either. How could we have gotten a divorce without me knowing about it? What are you talking about? Have you finally lost your mind? That's what he told me. I reminded him about how we got divorced. We had a fight about a year ago. You served me with divorce papers. Do you remember that? So I filled them out, and the day after we fought, I submitted the papers. I assumed you knew what I was doing, since you gave me the divorce papers. I guess that's when my husband remembered. But I never heard you actually submitted them. But if that's the case, then why are you still here? That's what he asked. That's what I was wondering too. What's the point of staying together after the divorce? I know the situation is crazy. I understand that, but I have to stay with my husband. There was a reason. I told my husband, who looked confused. The reason, don't worry, I'm not crazy or anything. The reason I was with you was to get you to pay me alimony for cheating on me over the past year. I've been planning, and I'm going to make sure to get my money's worth too. Alimony for cheating? My husband rolled his eyes at that. He was cheating on you at that age? Isn't he like 60? No, it was like 10 years ago. He was having an affair. But I just found out about it just before the divorce. I found out that you have 3 years to file for alimony after you find out about the affair. So even if the affair happened 10 years ago, the statute of limitations hasn't passed. So what does this mean? Why didn't you file a claim as soon as you found out? With no help from anyone, I thought it was impossible to file a claim for alimony alone. That's why I was saving up to hire a lawyer. Even if I could sue my husband for alimony and share his assets, I knew it would be tough to live off my pension, so I was studying for a certification. I hope I can make a little money to make ends meet. I want to open a handmade shop, so I got the certification to do that. So you were preparing for what you would do after the divorce? I sense revenge coming. My husband just laughed at me. That affair is a story from over 10 years ago. I don't know how you heard about it, but it's too late. I've already broken up with my girlfriend. I'm not required to pay any alimony. That's what he was saying, so I told him what I just told everyone. My husband's face scrunched up and he said, I'm the one who's been taking care of you all this time. You don't know how much you owe me. And you've been sneaking around behind my back, looking into the things like that. You've got to be kidding me. I would never give you any money. I own the house and I want you to get out of here right now. That's what he said to me. I thought it was time to make my move. I packed up my stuff right away, took my savings and left. I'm going to my husband's later with a lawyer. Soon I'll be able to properly leave my husband. You knew he was going to kick you out, so you saved up the money? That's great. I'm just wondering what's going to happen now. I've told you guys everything as of right now. I'll be back to update you with what happens next. I'd appreciate if you'd stay with me a little while longer. The woman's friends were surprised by the fact that they're already divorced. It's an unexpected turn of events, but the woman seems to be dealing with it without getting upset. She is finally making her move to strike back at her husband. What will be the outcome of this? I've been talking with my husband and my lawyer. I'm here today to report the outcome to you all. We've been waiting for you. It's kind of like watching a drama. My husband seemed so surprised when I brought my lawyer with me. You really hired a lawyer? But nothing will ever happen if you brought him. My feelings haven't changed at all. That's what he said to me, but the lawyer says, Your wife told me about her situation a few months ago. You are obligated to pay her alimony, and we'll have a discussion about the division of assets. That's what he said. My husband looked kind of glum. If it were me, he would have yelled at me. But his position was weakened by the intervention of the third party. So there, I told him a fact. I told the husband of the woman you were seeing about the affair as well. My husband took offense to that. What are you doing? It was 10 years ago. I can't believe you're letting him know now and bothering their family. You really go the extra mile. He yelled at me like this, so I told him, I don't care how long ago it was, cheating is cheating, right? Even the other husband has a right to know the truth. Besides, I only found out about it recently. But I was angry enough to want to file for alimony, so don't think the other husband would want to do the same thing. He fell silent for the first time when I said that. It felt really good. So you told the other husband? Nice! You're crazy if you think you're about to get a clean break once you cheat. You need to make him pay for what he did. For all the times my husband has disrespected me and for my own good, I wanted to give him a good beating. Then he suddenly changed his attitude. I know you're serious about this. If you want an apology, I'll give it to you. I'm sorry if I made you feel bad. This was the first time I heard him apologize. I was so surprised that I froze, but he still acted the same. See? I apologized. Are you satisfied now? Now make that man leave. We could talk about the rest of this, just the two of us. That's what he said. He doesn't sound sorry. He's all talk. My anger heated up because of this. Needless to say, because of your attitude, I had no choice but to do what I did. I'm sorry, but I don't think I can talk to you alone. I'll have my lawyer with me until the end. I'm not letting you go until you've paid your alimony and divided your assets. I told him once and for all. All right, if you're going that far, I'll pay you alimony. In exchange, I'd like you to split the property and the alimony together. If both are taken, the damage is too great. And if the other husband asks for more money too, I'm about to lose all my retirement money. I'm going to have to live on my own pension and savings. It'll be difficult for me. My husband was resistant to the idea, but I wasn't going to go on him easy. I'm sorry, but after everything you've done to me, I won't change my mind. I've lived with you for decades. How can I forgive you for cheating on me? You have to agree to all of our terms, or I'm not happy about it. Have I made it clear again?" He finally nodded his head. "Okay, I will accept your terms." With my good arguments and my help of my lawyer, he finally said yes to my terms. The sense of accomplishment I felt was so relieving to me. It was the first moment of freedom I felt in decades. "That's amazing. You really did fulfill your plan. You worked hard, especially in your last year." I've made all the decisions about when to pay and how much. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get it, but I think I've fulfilled my plans. I'm happy. Currently, my husband is looking for quick loans so he can make his payments. I'll come back and talk to him when I settle down. I'm so glad I was able to tell everyone that I defeated my husband today. Thanks for listening. The woman has been carefully preparing for this, and she was finally able to make him do as she says. This seems to have cleared up the air for her friends. We can only imagine how her husband is feeling about this right now. A few days later, the woman showed up in front of her friends. "I rented a house and I'm starting a new life. My husband paid his alimony and I've received the share of the property. So I don't have to worry about my life now. When I was younger, I was afraid of being alone, but now that I'm away from my husband, I feel so much happier. All of your hard work you've put in over the years has paid off. I wonder if he's billed for the alimony by the other parties as well. I came here today to talk about that too. Seems that the other couple wasn't getting along either. That's why they divorced. The other husband is suing for alimony, and the cheater is going through the same thing as my husband. But in exchange for paying alimony, he didn't get a share of the property. I don't care how much you say it's in the past. She made a mistake. She has to pay for her sins. The other husband must have been surprised. Maybe he didn't want to know. But if things weren't going well, it's a good start. I'm sure the two of them who had the affair have a lot of regrets. They better regret what they did. I feel better now that this has ended like this. And the other husband thanked me. I'm glad I told him. By the way, after I left home, I got this call from my husband. I was thinking about starting a new life after our divorce, but it seems that I was wrong. I'm so lonely living my life alone. I can't think about growing older by myself. Can you please come back to me? When I got this call, I honestly thought, suck it up. I never thought I'd see the day that he'd miss me. But it makes me feel good. On the contrary, I feel so much freedom. Of course, when there's no one to do everything for you, I'm sure he's going to feel inadequate. I'm sure he'll realize how much he needed you. That's what happens when you say you're providing for him. You're right. I don't have to worry about my husband's control. I can live my life the way I want to. Being in this situation feels like a dream. I'm still kind of confused about it, but I know it's real. I feel so happy whenever I think about it. As for your husband who says he misses you, did you say something to him? Of course I did. It's your own fault that you're all alone now. I'm not going back to you. On the contrary, I'll never see you again. Thank you for all you've done for me over the past few decades. Let's enjoy our separate lives from now on. That's what I said. And now I just ignore him. Your position's completely reversed. Your plan was a success. Congrats. I'm glad all the hard work you've put in so far has paid off. I never thought I'd have someone to celebrate like this. I couldn't have imagined it back then. I guess things can change when you make a move. I'm going to be strong on my own from now on. I'm going to find the happiness that I couldn't have in my marriage to my husband. I'm glad I came here to talk about it. Thank you so much for listening to me. Enjoy your free life. It's not too late to start new. You should enjoy your happiness for all the times your husband made you feel miserable. From this, the woman was successfully freed from her arrogant husband. She defeated her husband with her own hands, and she got the best result. The husband lost his fortune and finally realized how much the woman meant to him. but he deserves what he got. Her friends are as happy that the woman's plans were a success as if it was their own and wished her well. What would you have done if in a similar situation?